Welcome! In this session I begin by applying white paint directly onto the roller. I'm not trying to cover everything. I'm just creating some space, light, texture, breathing room. White has a way of opening the surface. And I might apply the paint directly onto the brush. Layer by layer, the surface begins to shift. It's almost like preparing the ground for something to grow. I also feel that it's like listening to the painting. What would it like to be as a next step? Perhaps a touch of yellow, just enough to bring in the light. Or perhaps it's asking for a deeper color, a little bit of magenta on my fingertips, a couple of dots on each painting. No more. Sometimes restraint makes the color come alive. And then I feel like using my fingers again for painting. There is something grounding about direct contact. And when it's time to use the brush again, I add loose magenta marks, and I realize that it's starting to resemble an abstract flower field. I smile, I like it. Moments like these feel unexpected and playful. I'm scratching again with the back end of my brush, letting earlier layers breathe, and even painting, both with the back of my brush and the tips of my fingers. Then another spontaneous decision, a Q-tip. Improvisation keeps the process alive. And I'm cutting a small branch to use as a brush from the pine leaves I found on the ground nearby. I love bringing elements from outside into the studio. I start making marks. The texture is irregular, organic. And I feel like going back to mixing my homemade palette. Mixing the colors feels like magic to me. And with my natural organic brush, I make scattered tiny dots and marks on a couple of the paintings. Then I trim a few more pine leaves. Adjusting the tool changes the gesture. And I go back to mixing. There is really no rigid plan, no pressure for perfection. It's just presence, color, and texture, and the quiet joy of making art.